Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to do a video on the Ford 961 Powermaster. We bought this tractor from my wife's grandparents. They were looking to downsize and get rid of some equipment, so we bought this tractor from them. We bought it in the summer of 2010, if I remember correctly. We had just that spring purchased our property here where we live in Acme. And it worked out good getting this tractor and having the brush hog be able to do some cleanup and get the property under control. We hadn't moved here yet or built our house, but it worked out perfect. The tractor came from Illinois. That's where my wife's grandparents are from. So we purchased it there and then trailered it here. It does say 901 on it. So that is the series. It's a 901 series. Ford made a 601, 701, 801, and 901 series. The 601s and the 801s were lowered to the ground. I believe they were just basic utility tractors, where the 701 and 901 series were a little higher ground clearance row crop tractors. So, and then the 61, I said this is a 961. So what that comes down to, and I'm not sure if it's the same for each series, but at least for the 900 series, they had multiple. They may have more than I remember, but off the top of my head, I remember a 951, 961, 971, and 981. And that just differentiated between some of the options it had. So like, for example, this one is a 5-speed transmission with a live power takeoff. We'll get into that a little bit more, but I believe the 951 was a 4-speed transmission. 971, I can't remember. The 981, I believe, was a Selecto speed transmission. So just some of the, I'm not an expert on these by any means, but that's just some of the difference in the series that I recall. As you can see, this is a propane tractor. That's what this, for those not familiar, that's what this tank looking thing is sticking out of the top of the hood here. So on a standard gasoline tractor or diesel, there would be a fuel tank inside the hood or inside that sheet metal, and it would not stick up above. But that is a propane tank there. My wife's grandfather said this was an original propane tractor. I'm not sure on that. He did not buy it new. He did buy it used, and it was propane when he purchased it. I know some of the pictures or some of the pictures in the books I've seen on propane tractors, it shows all the valves and controls back here where you can see them right from the operator's seat, where these are obviously all over here on the left side, left as you're sitting in the operator's seat. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure if this is original or not. I know right where the air intake here goes into the carburetor, it doesn't line up. It works, doesn't line up quite perfectly. So I don't know, like I said, if this is an original propane tractor or not, but it's not really important to me. My wife's grandfather, he loved this tractor. This was kind of like his baby. So whether it's original or whether it was converted before he got it or not, to me, really, it doesn't matter. This is a tractor I really enjoy operating. It's not as comfortable or as convenient as the newer, the Kubota I have, but this one's a lot of fun to operate. So I've enjoyed that. I'm glad I was able to purchase it from him. It keeps it in our family that way, which I know that was important to him. So I'm very happy, very lucky to have it, and I enjoy it. So for the propane, just to give a little overview of that, this here is a bleed screw. If you open that up, that'll bleed off propane vapor. They usually, when they're filling this, they open that up, and then when the propane fills to that level, basically when vapor stops coming out and liquid starts coming out, that's about when the gauge up here shows 80% full. So that's where they stop. So that's about the only time I've seen that open. I don't know why you would open it other than that. This is the fill port here. They unscrew this cap, and that's the fill port. This is I believe this is a safety pressure release. And then one of the labels here has come off over the years, but this is a liquid tap, a valve basically that has a tube inside it goes down to draw liquid off. And then this is vapor. I start it up, especially when it's cold, but I start it up on vapor. And then once the engine's warm, I change it over to liquid. It will run. I have forgotten and ran it just on vapor, and it seems to run fine. I don't really notice a difference either way, but the book does say to switch it over to liquid. And the reason you wait till it's warmed up is if you come down here, there is this regulator. That's where the propane comes through. You see the regulator here. It does have an input. This line here is input for engine coolant, and then this line here, sorry, let me get in the camera. This is the output for the engine coolant. So that's the reason you wait till the engine's warmed up, is that assists in turning the liquid propane to gas. If it's cold out, like I said, when it's warm, it doesn't really matter. It seems to run fine either way. The propane will turn to gas, no problem. But when it's cold, you need that engine, the temperature from the engine coolant, to help the liquid propane turn to gas. So we mentioned the transmission. Like I said, this is a 5-speed transmission. A little different style than I've seen on other tractors. I'm typically, let's see if I can get in here and show you. So it's real hard to see. It's a little dirty and it's hard to see, I think that, but it's a 5-speed, but it's not a, like, I don't know, like you'd see like on a 4-speed, like a standard H pattern or something like that. So the gear shift moves up and down, as you can see here. So, and it has 3 detents all the way up, in the middle right here, and then all the way down. So all the way up and forward is 3rd gear. All the way up and backwards is reverse. Halfway down, the middle detent here, forward is 2nd, backward is reverse. All the way down, forward is 4th, backward is 5th. We also mentioned having a live PTO. That was something that back in this time frame tractor, this is in 1958, if I didn't mention that before, not all tractors had a live PTO. So this one accomplishes that with what's called 2-stage clutch. So you can see the clutch pedal here. Your linkage comes over to here. And if you see that cotter pin and basically that clevis there has 2 positions. I have it on the inner position right now, and that raises your clutch pedal up higher. And that allows you to get to the 2nd stage of the clutch. If you would move this hole here over onto this arm, you would not have enough clutch travel to reach the 2nd stage. So you would only disengage the transmission from driving the wheels. You wouldn't disengage a drive line. So where I have it now, it'll disengage a drive line, the PTO drive line also. So I'll show you that. Let me get the camera set and I'll show you on the clutch pedal itself. Okay, so when you depress the clutch, there's 2 stages you can feel in it. You push down to here, that disengages the tractor drive. Now right about here, you can feel some additional resistance. So if you push that last little bit, that will disengage the PTO. So you can push to here, stop the tractor movement, your PTO is still engaged, it's still driving. And then that last little bit there will actually disengage the PTO, and then it'll stop. This tractor does have power steering. I'm trying to get in here so you can see it. It is very nice on this having power steering. With the narrow front end of the power steering, you can spin this tractor around really quick. So that is nice. One thing I am trying to find, and I have not been successful yet, is the steering's getting pretty sloppy on it. All the joints here, you know, this tie rod end, this ball joint here is wearing out. There's a joint right in here. That's wearing. That's actually like a ball and socket type internal to the end of the hydraulic cylinder. And then back here, you know, this joint has some play in it also. None of them are horrible, but with the 3 of them each having play them together, the steering's a little sloppy on it. I would like to find replacement parts for that, but so like I said, so far I've looked at Steiner tractor. They don't have like replacement ball joint ends or tie rod ends here. They don't have replacement ends. And from what I've researched, it sounds like no one makes them right now. So I'm still looking.